Episode 2, The Elephant Man. The Tragedy and Grace of Joseph Merrick by Jared Larkham. You're listening to The Cavern, Echoes of Oddities, Curiosities, and History, where true stories meet behind the curtain. In our last episode, we explored the life of P.T. Barnum, a man of spectacle, controversy, and heart. But today, we turn our gaze towards one of the most misunderstood souls to ever step into the light. A man's whose face was feared, but whose heart was quiet, kind, and very real. This is the story of Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man. Joseph Carey Merrick was born in Leicester, England in 1862. His early years were quiet, uneventful. He was just a boy, nothing more, nothing less. But around the age of 5, things changed. His skin thickened, tumours began to grow, his lips enlarged, his right arm became twisted and heavy. One of his legs began to swell, dragging as he walked. The world didn't understand, and often it didn't care to. Strangers stared, children ran, adults whispered. When Joseph was just 11, his mother passed away. She had been the only one to shower him with softness. With her gone, life grew ever colder. His father remarried, a woman who found him a burden, unwanted. He was beaten, abused, rejected. Joseph was forced into workhouses, dark places, harsh places, places where no children, no one should have ever lived. Eventually, Joseph made a choice no one should have ever made. He chose to exhibit himself, to be seen not as a person, but as a curiosity. He became known as the Elephant Man. Posters claimed he was half man, half elephant. People paid to look. Some laughed, some turned away in horror. Some came again and again, unable to look or look away. Joseph didn't enjoy it, but it was the first time he had a bit of control, a little money, a little shelter, a little voice. Around this time, word of Joseph's condition spread beyond England, and eventually it reached the ears of one man across the Atlantic, P.T. Barnum. Now, to be clear, Joseph Merrick never joined Barnum's full-time American circus, but there's evidence that his British promoters used Barnum's name, perhaps even communicated with him, to lead the exhibit, credibility, and attract crowds. Barnum himself was fascinated by human oddities, but he also walked a fine line between exploration and evolution. Joseph, however, didn't want fame, he wanted survival, and Barnum reportedly declined to take him on directly, either because of legal issues or change in public tastes. Joseph remained in Europe, under the care of smaller managers. It is still possible and likely that Joseph Merrick knew exactly who Barnum was, and that the shadow of the greatest showman loomed quietly behind the curtain of Joseph's own short time in the spotlight. But it didn't last. A tour in Belgium went wrong. His manager robbed him, abandoned him. Joseph was left alone, penniless, ill, desperate. He made his way back to London, barely standing, and it was there, at the Royal London Hospital, that everything changed. A surgeon named Dr. Frederick Treves took him in, treated him with kindness, listened to him, sat with him, spoke to him, not as an exhibit, but as a man. Joseph finally had a room of his own, a window, a bed, books, visitors who didn't come to laugh, but to learn. He wrote letters, read poetry, began to smile. He formed gentle friendships with the nurses, writers, artists, even royalty. He became Joseph, not the Elephant Man, but Joseph. For the first time, Joseph lived, truly lived. He found peace in routine, joy in conversation, and a strange, beautiful pride in being seen without mockery. But his body was frail, deformed, in a way that science still struggled to fully explain. He could only sleep sitting up, to avoid suffocating under the weight of his head. In 1890, he was found dead in his bed. He was just 27 years old. It was believed he tried to sleep, like everyone else, laying down, just once. After death, his skeleton was preserved, displayed in medical collections, studied, explained, but still misunderstood. Among his belongings, Joseph kept a handwritten version of a poem by Isaac Wilkes, a piece that, by all accounts, meant something very personal to him. He didn't just copy the words, he added to them, in his own hand, as if to say, "This is how I feel, this is who I am. 'Tis true my form is something odd, but blaming me is blaming God. Could I create myself anew, I would not fail in pleasing you. If I could reach from pole to pole, or grasp the ocean with a span, I would be measured by the soul, the mind's the standard of the man." Joseph once said, "I am not an animal, I am a human being." And he was, a gentle, thoughtful, deeply feeling man, born into a world that made him a monster for looking different. This is not a story about deformity. It is a story about dignity, about being seen, about what we owe one another, even when we don't understand. Joseph Merrick was not a freak. He was a human being who spent his life waiting for someone to say, "I see you." Thank you for visiting the Cavern. Until next time, mind the shadows, they have hearts too. Next episode, The Bearded Lady, Beauty, Mystery, and the Woman Behind the Curtain.